Hello and good evening, students. We'll be learning today about certain DCL commands, that is data control language commands, that is grant and revoke. How do we grant privileges to certain users, or how do we remove those privileges from the users using grant and revoke? So first, let us start with our MySQL command line. Now here we are the root users. Whatever MySQL you have on your system, you are the root user. That means you are the admin of MySQL. So you being the admin, you should be able to see all different types of users that you have for your system. So we have select user from mysql.user. So this will give you the list of all the users that you have on the system. No, that is accessing your MySQL, right? So as you can see, there is a user by the name Sejal. There is user by the name Root. Root, that is the admin. Sejal is one of the users. So let's say if you want to create more users who can access the databases created on your system, you can create users by the command create user, let's say kj under single quotes at localhost identified by, then you give some password. So what is happening here is I'm creating one more user by the name kjsieit at the rate localhost. Localhost means this particular system on which I'm working on. So if you want to include more PCs or some other PC, if you want to create user for some other PC in the LAN, then you need to give the uh, IP address of that PC. Let's say if you want to include the databases created on all the PCs of a certain laboratory, of a certain lab, so then you need to use percentage sign like this. So instead of local host, you have to specify the IP address, and then you have to specify the IP address followed by a percentage sign. So all the computers whose IP address is starting with 10.0 point something, in all those PCs that user will be created, right? And it has to be identified by then whatever password you want to give. So here the password I've given is Sam. Hit enter. Okay. So now again, if we look at the users, list of users, as you can see, this user has been added, right? Now what we need to do is we need to change the user. Here in MySQL command line, just the root user will be active. Now if we want to try out different users, so we have to go to the command prompt of the system. Command prompt में first we have to come out of this directory, so cd slash, we come out of the directory, then find out the folder, the bin folder of MySQL server. So here I've already in that bin folder, copy the path of the bin folder of the MySQL server, and you have to go into that path. So change directory, cd is the OS command for change directory, and I'll paste the path. इसमें से I will remove C drive का, because we are already in C drive. Hit enter. All right. So now we are in that bin folder. So now I can change the user. So let's say first let me log in as the root, that is the admin of MySQL. It is asking me for the password of root. I'll enter the password, hit enter. So now if I use the command show databases, please keep it in mind I have logged in as root, which is the admin of MySQL. So I'm able to see all the, these are the list of all the databases created on my system. And obviously root being the admin is as the access to all the databases. Right? Now let us log out from this root user and try to log in as a different user. So as you all remember, I had created a user by the name KGSIEIT. I am logging in now as that user. Remember the password which you had sent while creating the user. I'm entering the same password. My password was signed. I'm entering the same password. So now I have logged in as a user which is not an admin. So now if I use the same command, that is show databases, I'm not able to see all the databases. Why? Because this particular user does not have any privileges, does not have any rights or access or authorization to access the databases. So what can be done is again log in as root, right? And now I can give the grant to, so the command is grant all privileges. Currently I want KGSIT to have access to all the databases and all the tables of each of the databases. So grant all privileges on star dot star. So the first star is for the database. So if I'm giving here star, matlab I am giving the right to access all databases of this system. Then dot star, the other star is for the tables. Matlab I'm giving the access to all the tables of all the databases. And so it is star dot star. So the first star is for the database and the second star is for the tables. To whom am I giving? I'm giving it to the user named KJSIIT @ localhost, right? So now all the privileges are given. Let us check out whether the privileges are working. So, okay, now if I have, now I have logged in as KGSIIT, not as a root. So now as you can see, now I have got the access to all the databases. So now this particular user, KGSIIT, has got access to all the databases, right? So you've granted the privileges. The root has granted the privileges to KJSI So now we can access any database and all the tables. Now there's just one table. So as you can see, I can do whatever I want with the tables in each of the databases. So there was just one table in ETRX, that is students, and these were the entries of the students. Right? Now let us revoke these privileges. So again, revoking will be done by the root user since that is the admin. I'll directly jump to the revoke. I want to revoke all the privileges which were given to, again, star dot star from so all the privileges are removed, right? So here we have used all the privileges. Similarly, there can be other types of privileges also can be given. Let's say, for example, alter. So you can give the user on the rights to only alter the table, or just to create the table, or create and delete, or just insert, or select, or update. Select hoga, so the user will only be able to read from the uh, database, right? And will not be able to. So let us try one of these. Then you can, in your write up, you can uh, in your experiment, you can try other privileges as well. I'm using just select. As you can see, the privileges are prefixed and suffixed by tilde. The sign tilde has to be used. I have grant, select, on, mm, on let's say just on one this thing we'll use on one of the tables, let's say etrx, on etrx dot asterisk matlab all the tables of etrx. This particular user will not be able to use any other database other than etrx. Okay, let me. Okay, so that tilde is not working in command prompt. It will work, I think, in MySQL prompt. So I've removed the tilde. So now it is just grant select on ETRX, the database, on all the tables of the database ETRX. It should not be able to access any other database other than ETRX. Who should not be able to access? KJSIIT user, right? So now let us exit from here and again log in as KGSIIT. Oops, okay, the name is wrong. There is a spelling mistake. KJSIEIT. Fine. Alright. So now if I have show databases, so as you can see, I am getting the name of ETRX now. Why? Because the root has granted the privilege of reading from ETRX. So ETRX is being seen here. Now let us have show tables again. Oops, sorry, use ETRX, show tables. So there is one table. So if I have select from students, I'm able to see the list. Now let us try inserting uh, values into it. So now I'm trying to insert values into the table students. There's something wrong with my keyboard. Yeah. Insert command denied to user, right? So this user, since has not been given any rights to insert, cannot insert into the tables. It can only select. So I can just view the table, select, let's say,
enrollment ID from students. Yeah, so all of those queries are working, the select queries are working fine, but the insert, drop, delete, alter, all such type of queries will not work on the database since the user KJSI EIT has not given the privilege to enter or delete or drop or alter or modify into the table. Is it clear? So for your lab, you will be trying out other privileges given to, you will have to first create a user, then you'll be granting privileges, and also you will be revoking those privileges, and not just all privileges, just give one or two privilege to a certain table. You can also try with a certain table, right? Not all the tables, एक ही table say you can give the privilege and also revoke that privilege, right? So that is the end of this video.